Is it your dream to become a professional wrestling superstar, manager, or referee? Well, you can make that dream a reality by training with Midwest All Pro Wrestling. Learn from former WWE superstar and NXT coach Eugene Nick Dinsmore. Classes are training right now, so go to MidwestAllPro.com and click on training to enroll today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's do this.
This is ProWrestling UnCut. With your host, the Tiger Man, Cole Dawson,
Biggest icon in wrestling.
Die Hard is not a
Christmas movie.
Let's do this.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Pro Wrestling Uncut. I am your host, Cole Dawson. And with me, as always, our producer, our friend, Charles, DjBBQ. How you doing today, Charles?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm all right. With us this week is not Dave the Tiger Man Smith, but we have a special guest. With us today is Royce Isaascs. He is an up-and-coming professional wrestler. He is currently working for the NWA. How are you doing today, Royce?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm good. I am not the Tiger Man, but I did just watch all of the Tiger King.
Yeah.
So,
on Netflix.
bro, I went right through that in like a day. Like, so good.
I think between you and I think we mutually know whose father possibly that could be.
Oh, Zicky Dice?
Yeah.
Clearly.
Clearly that could be his father, I swear.
No, I'm
Oh,
doing
man.
good. I've been still working out and everything at home. It's just, it gets a little boring. So,
Right.
good thing is
Yeah.
you got like this to spice it up a little bit,
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's kind of the elephant in the room right now in all conversation is how have you been affected by the coronavirus?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, luckily I work for the NWA and I'm in a better situation than a lot of people are. So I don't mean to make it as like a woe is me thing, but obviously the world's hurting right now and this is a really tough situation. And, there's things bigger than wrestling going on, obviously, but wrestling's my passion and it's what I've dedicated my life to. And it sucks to, not have wrestling around right now. And, it sucks to not be able to be around people and kind of hole up, but hopefully we can all get through this together and come out stronger.
Now, do you have a sweet at-home gym set up so that you're able to get a good workout in?
I don't know about sweet, but I do have I have the adjustable dumbbells. They only go up to like 52 and a half, but you can just do a lot of reps and whatever. I got a full set of resistance bands, so those really help. And I have like a pull-up bar kind of thing or whatever. So I have enough to like be able to do everything, but it's pretty limited. Like, I did legs today and I started out with 600 squats just because it was like, I'm not going to be able to squat for weight. So I might as well just my freaking ears bleed basically.
Right.
Correct. So what has been your go-to activity to fill time now that you're stuck in your home?
Netflix for sure. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the Tiger King deal, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the streaming. It's like I want to make sure that I like the exercise stuff is my favorite part of the day, but there's only so long. Even if you're having like a long workout, you're not going to work out for longer than a couple hours. So like it's good if I go for a run or something. That's nice. Definitely nice to get some like fresh air and whatever.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like mostly just cooking food and watching shows and catching up with people over the phone and not in person.
Oh,
Right.
for sure. Now, one of the things that maybe some people outside of the wrestling business or have never been in it won't consider is a lot of wrestlers have nagging injuries and bumps and bruises and things they're going through. Do you have any of that going on right now?
Yeah, I actually I'm getting over some bursitis in my elbow, so I think tomorrow will be the first time that I do any real serious upper body lifting in like I guess I took 3 weeks off, which is a lot for me. So I've just been hitting legs like 4 times a week like a madman, and then doing a lot of core and like neck exercises and stuff like that. But I'm excited to get back to upper body stuff. My elbow is pretty much 100% right now, but it's like one of those things that probably not that there's like an ideal time, but at least I could afford to kind of take some time and let that heal and just kind of rest it up, which that itself has been I guess a silver lining around the dark crappy cloud of corona.
Right.
Yeah, I've been choosing to focus on the silver linings as well. Charles lives in South Dakota. Where are you located?
I'm in LA, man. I'm in Sherman Oaks.
Perfect. So you understand I'm over here in Riverside, California. You understand my excitement with the fact that everywhere I've gone this week at work, I work construction, I've got to go 75 miles per hour on the freeway everywhere during rush hour.
There. Yeah, no, it's been really nice. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of places to go, but if you have to go anywhere, it's not going to take you long, which is, I mean, it's like even crazier than like the holidays, really, in terms of just like there is zilch as far as traffic goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, basically all my drives are either down the 91 or the 60 west towards LA in the morning at rush hour. So that has been my favorite silver lining, is that it hasn't taken 45 minutes to go 15 miles to Chino. So
Yeah, we get spoiled out here in South Dakota, so I can understand that that's probably just a culture shock for all you guys out there, out west.
Open road. What?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no traffic on the 91.
Dude, I'm by the 101 and the 405. So.
Oh yeah, so you're right in that traffic light right there. I've had some days down there, going down to Staples or Dodger Stadium and whatnot. Try to do that, and once you get down that area, man. So let's get into some wrestling. I looked you up. I have to admit I haven't been able to check your stuff out as of yet, but I definitely will after we talk. I see you have a match with Joey Ryan, one of my good friends there. I will that's queued up on my YouTube as soon as we get off this. But I did a little digging, and your first TV experience would be Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, I did have a stint with Paragon Pro Wrestling in Vegas for a little bit as well, but that folded in 2016. Then, yeah, I guess like my first real TV experience was with CWFH, which was, that was an awesome experience, and I think the studio setting there obviously really helped me kind of get ready for the studio setting with NWA and everything like that. I can't say my time there.
Yeah, how big of a difference is it going into a studio wrestling atmosphere from regular independent or a little bit bigger independent shows?
I mean, it's a different format, and something that I think it's important to be cognizant of and aware of. I don't think it's as big of a difference as some people make it out to be, but then at the same time, you see certain people that don't know how to adapt to the style. I think you just have to be a little open and versatile and understand like what it is you have to get accomplished and the amount of time that you have to do it. And
right.
Like in terms of like, okay, there's obviously a camera, and it matters more that I play to the camera rather than the crowd at this time, or okay, like we're on TV break right now, so now I can go mess around with the crowd and it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like it's just something to be cognizant of and to be aware of. But I think as long as you kind of have a good head on your shoulders, it shouldn't be like this, like, oh, I have to learn how to wrestle again. Like if telling you have 3 minutes left is like the end of the world for you, you're probably not cut out for this.
Did it screw with you a little bit that you don't have any entrance music? Because it was a little weird, because you were on the Crockett Cup the first time, you and Tommy's, and then you come into the studio and there's no entrance music to walk out, so did that screw with you just a little bit?
At first I was a little bit worried about how it would come off, and I was worried about how the fans would receive it. And then I think once during literally still the first taping, by like midway through the first episode, I think we all realized like, oh, this is going so fast, and this is like there's no real time to breathe. It also makes you just kind of, you just, boom, you go, you do your entrance, you get in the ring, you do a quick pose, and you're there. I think once we all kind of got it, we were like, oh, this is actually a really good way to present it because you don't waste any extra time. It's just like, boom, you like as a viewer and as a wrestler, like you just get right to the match. You get in the ring, you pose, other person gets in the ring, they pose, ding, 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 and you're wrestling. And it almost doesn't give you time to mentally reset. I know as like when I watch wrestling, sometimes I'll see, okay, their music hits, and I'm like, yeah, it's great to watch this wrestler do his entrance, or maybe I'll just check my phone for the next 2 minutes, and before you know it, they're 3 minutes into the match, and you're still on your phone. Like with NWA, you don't really have that time to get lost. It's just like, oh, okay, boom, the match is happening right now. And I think it's kind of good for this generation that I'm a part of, that we get really bored easily and we look at our phones easily. It's like Power is 1 hour, and it's an hour that just goes by like that, where it's just everything, one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, leads to another thing. Like there's no real time to have that like break, mentally.
Right.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one trend that I've been noticing with a lot of TV wrestling these days is that they've made the entrances such an important thing. Like if you watch Raw or SmackDown, you watch this 2.5 minute entrance and this other 2.5 minute entrance. They get in the ring and then immediately go to a commercial break for 3 minutes. Why didn't we take a commercial break during the 3 minute entrances and like focus on the match? Like it's one of my big pet peeves in the world right now. We got to watch a match picture in picture or not watch the wrestling match, but we got all those cool entrances. So I'm glad you're on board with that. It's definitely a plus for me.
Yeah, and I think there's a time and a place for it. Like obviously on all of our pay-per-views that we've had so far for NWA, we have had the entrance music.
Right.
And that's like, that also then makes it feel more special. It's like, oh, this is the pay-per-view. They're entering from a different area. They all have music. It makes it more special and more interesting. So I think I don't know. I really like that format. I obviously, it's different too because we're in a studio. So like, I can't speak to another person's product, whether it would still be the same if you have like a big entranceway. Like it might be awkward to not have that music to help with noise and all that kind of stuff. And like some people, their entrance music is a big part of their gimmick or whatever they're doing. And I do understand that, but I mean, we're lucky we're in this studio setting too, where it's very like cozy and comfortable. Like the fans are right there and they're instantly so into, whether they're cheering or booing or whatever, like they're invested in everything. So you need, 10 seconds of music until you walk to the ring. It's like, boom, the fans are already booing you, cheering you, whatever. And whatever you need to be, like if you're a bad guy, you're a bad guy. If you're a good guy, you're a good guy. And the fans at home should already kind of know that just right there. So it's a format that I don't know if it works for everyone, but it really works well for us. And it's awesome to be part of it.
One thing I was wondering, when you have the ring in a normal setting outside of a studio, you have like a certain distance from the fans, and then kind of like some fans' voices overshadow others. With you having such a small amount of fans in there in a studio setting, can the fans like screw with you just a little bit when you're trying to, do your promo, cut your lines? Do they kind of catch you off guard? Because when I watch the show, sometimes it looks like it's organic and you have to kind of improvise just a little bit more than normal because the one fan shadows the other a little, and it's clear sound.
So I personally, I like that kind of stuff. Like I like having that where you can hear someone and like fire back at them. True stories on that, being in that intimate setting. So I remember during one of my promos, I don't remember which promo, and I don't even know if you can hear it on camera, but I plain as day, I don't know why, I was in the middle of talking to where I couldn't just like snap off and say something, and it immediately went to my mental bank of like, I can't really like, there's no good counter right now. I can't like, whatever. I could tell him to shut up, but no point.
Right.
The guy just goes, "You're 5'6". And I was like, oh man, like that. I was like, I'm not even 5'6", but he like believes it so much that like, like, I'm tall, but I was just like, oh, like he really
you're
like
tall 5'6" then.
but he believed it so much that I was like, oh, like, I wish I could say something back right now.
Right.
And the other thing I was gonna say, so on the last set of tapings, I remember, me and Tom the first night some kid came up to us. Obviously, me and Tom are bad guys. Most of the people don't like us, but this little kid comes up to us and he goes, "Oh, I really like you, and no one else wants to cheer for you, but I'm gonna keep cheering for you guys. You guys are great." And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. Like, this kid's so nice. This is awesome."
Right.
And then the next night, Tom had a singles match or something, and like he had the guy in a headlock or whatever. And I guess the kid was like, "Yeah, come on." And Tom, not knowing, just turns and goes, "Shut up." And the kid comes up to me afterwards at first, and he was like, "Why did Tom tell me to shut up when I was the only one that was cheering for him?" And I could tell like his heart was about to break. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, think on my feet. So I just go, "Oh no, he was talking to the guy behind you. I remember that. He was talking to the guy behind you, said something. It wasn't you."
Nice.
And like, crisis averted. Thank God. It's heartbreaking. I mean, no.
Go ahead, Charles.
I was just gonna say, so I have to ask you. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. I know that I'm guilty of giving you crap on Twitter. The last time I tried to say that I talked to somebody on Twitter, Cole gave me crap. Cole knew Eddie Kingston.
Hold on.
I said I talked to him, which I meant I misunderstood the tweet. And like Cole's like, "Oh really? So you talked to him?" So I could say I waited until I said this when Cole was around. I gave you crap a little bit for the Hawaiian shirts that you're wearing because a lot of people have mentioned you look like Tom Selleck when you're with Magnum PI. So I just gotta ask, like, do you get irritated with that a little bit?
No, I'm all about it, man. I honestly, when I started putting on the Hawaiian shirts, I was like, oh yeah, I have a mustache and I have a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
People know me. Close my door, please. Connection.
Yeah.
The Tom Selleck connection. It wasn't until after the first time I wore one, and I just happened to put on this black Strictly Business hat, and someone tweeted me a picture of Tom Selleck with like the Detroit Tigers hat with almost the same pattern.
That might have been me that tweeted you.
Might have been you. And I was like, oh. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, I'm rolling toward, like, it's not, to me, that's not giving shit. That's giving props. Like,
right?
And no, I'm all about it, bro. Like, I embrace that. I think that's, I don't know. Like, I like the Hawaiian shirt thing. I think there aren't enough people, like, it's like a different kind of thing. And if I can make it my own or whatever, and it works with the stash. So, like, if it gives people that one more thing to remember me by or to get hooked onto or into, like, cool, man, I'm all about it.
No, I sent it, and then first I said, "Fuck, he's not gonna sit there and talk to me." But then you liked the tweet, and then I was like, and instantly I said, "Oh, my two other friends, my brothers, the co-hosts, are gonna just give me nothing but crap for even mentioning that." Because I mean, they've been in the business. I'm only seen the backstage stuff with Nick. So I figured right away that they're gonna give me crap. But as soon as you liked that, I was like, "Whoo! Oh, that I'm in the okay."
To be fair, this time, Charles, you led with the fact that you tweeted at a person. When you presented the conversation with Eddie Kingston, you just said, "Oh, I was talking to Eddie Kingston earlier," not, "Oh, I tweeted at him and he tweeted back at me and I'm fanboying out." No. Yeah. I had a conversation with Eddie Kingston, so I'm like, "How the fuck do you know Eddie Kingston? Yeah. He's my boy from way back in the day."
I was like trying to. I knew I screwed up, but I was caught in it. I was like, "Well, tweeting is like talking." So I was trying to do every excuse in the book, so I learned from that. He got me good, because then he's like, "Oh yeah, well I'm friends with Eddie. I used to have Eddie and so and so over here all the time," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I was worried when we got to talk to him, and he come on. I thought he was gonna.
Yeah, Eddie's a real.
Yeah, and also I will agree, Tom Selleck is a total legend. His current role on his TV show, he is older than the man who plays his father on the TV show. In real life, he is older than the man who is his father on the TV show. So yes, he is a legend.
What's he on right now?
Blue Bloods, the show Blue Bloods, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, the guy that plays his father is actually younger than Tom Selleck.
Yeah, he has a great cast in there. They have Wahlberg's on there.
Yeah.
A couple other popular actors from other shows, but they all make it work, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of my wife's shows, so I deal with it.
Got to plug that out there a little bit. So let's get back to wrestling and that. You started in Denver, if I remember right.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. I started training in Denver. It'll be 6 years ago next month. I was 25 at the time, so I got into the business a little bit later than a lot of people do. But I had a lot of experience with sports previously, and I was lucky enough that I was able to kind of just dive into. I was training like 5-6 times a week when I first started, so I was like really, really like it was almost like I tried to just do like I haven't studied all semester. Let me catch up real quick, kind of. Course. And
you started in Denver, and your rise to NWA now, that's pretty quick. It hasn't it been for you?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that I mean, one, I'm lucky that there's a lot. Like when I first started training, there was really only like WWE, Ring of Honor, and TNA at the time, and there wasn't a whole lot of alternatives. And now there's a lot of other, like obviously there's the NWA, there's like MLW, there's like just a lot more options as far as like for fans like of top indies as well. So it's definitely part of it. It's a healthier scene than it's been in a long time, and hopefully once all the craziness passes, it'll continue to be a healthier scene.
Right.
I think also in some ways it was helpful to get in like as a grown man. Like I was like a fully grown athlete. I was, I would say I'm in much better shape now, but at the same time I was already like 215 pounds and like pretty squared away, where like I didn't have to necessarily like get my body in shape. Like I was already kind of in shape and ready to go, and I was really into wrestling, so I dove in head first. So I don't know, it is quick, but at the same time I think a lot of times what you get out of wrestling is what you put into it. So it's one of those things that like it's been something that I've been passionate about for a really long time, and it's something that I sacrificed a lot for, and I really have dove into head first. So it seems like it's quick, but at the same time, it didn't seem like it was quick enough,
Right. I got into watching the championship wrestling from Hollywood, but I watched the Arizona one because my friend that refereed and learned from Nick up at Midwest All Pro Wrestling works and does the stuff in Arizona. And so he told me about what that network was and stuff, and I watched that, and then all of a sudden I noticed that you and Thomas were together, and then the Crockett Cup, and then you guys come in to the NWA, so I thought that was really cool how that all like just panned out and domino affected to there.
Yeah, man. No, it's really it's been a really cool journey, and like I'm glad that along the way I've gotten to do some really, really awesome stuff. Being able to work in Japan and being able to work in Mexico were like huge like bucket list, dream list kind of check mark kind of things. And then now being able to work with the NWA has been just absolutely the coolest. Working with legends like Scott Steiner and the Rock and Roll Express, and working for someone like Billy Corgan, who like I was born in '89, so like when Smashing Pumpkins were blowing up was like when that's when I was a kid, and that's when I was getting into wrestling and whatever. So it's like it's a really cool. I've had a really interesting and cool career, at least I'd say.
Yeah.
So I did, when I was doing my research, I did stumble across a cool little factoid. So I wanted to talk about your time in Japan. You and my sister have something in common. My sister being the world famous Candice LeRae.
I think I know where you're going with this, but yes, please.
You are a former DDT Iron Man champion. Could you explain for our audience what the DDT Iron Man Championship is?
Oh man, it's the WWE 24/7 belt, but on meth or something like that. It's like so out. Like it's been held by some of the best wrestlers of all time. It's also been held by like inanimate objects and like little girls and stuff. Like it's just like the most crazy because it literally it's 24/7. It's in any format. Like it doesn't matter. Like when I won it. So I was teaming with Dan Shokudino, and he had me doing what was called the miracle ass, where I would like break people's arms with my ass. Like I would like almost like a reverse Joey Ryan. I'd put their hand in the back of my trunks and then I'd wrench on it, break their arm or whatever. And so we would always have to do for like the house shows and stuff like that. We would do. Dino would bring it out. He would talk about it. He would bust out chopsticks and he'd have me demonstrate so I could show everyone this is what happens if you put your hand in my trunks. And then I would go out there and I would break someone's hand or whatever, or break someone's arm or whatever. So then at this show, it was at Korakuen Hall, and the person that held the title at the time, she was running from all the other like competitors backstage, and she was like really tired because it's a 24/7 belt. Like you can never really sleep easy with it. And so she found a room that she went. This is a backstage vignette that they're broadcasting to the audience at Korakuen. She finds a room where she can be alone. She takes a few bites of her food, and then she's like, wow, I'm really tired. Passes out with the chopsticks on her. Referee sees this. 1, 2, 3, chopsticks win the belt. I realized the chopsticks won the belt, stuff them in my pants, break them, and then I'm the new champion via killing the chopsticks. I don't know if I'm the only person to win the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship by murder, but I think so.
I gotta tell my friend Jay Fowler about this.
What?
I gotta tell my friend Jay Fowler about this because he's called Buns of Steel, and he faced Joey Ryan. He does an atomic, like he flips and does an atomic butt bomb, and he did something similar to that, like when you were talking about. I have to tell him about that because.
No, it was super fun, and I mean it was a huge honor to me because I got to come out to Korakuen that match as like the champion, you know, like my match was right after that. So that was a huge bucket list kind of thing. And it's like, also, it's like, you know, some amazing, you know, like Scott Hall's held this championship. Like that's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
Or like, obviously Joey had a really good run with it where he did some really creative and inventive things with it. And you know, like Candace held it. Like there's some really like rarefied air there in terms of who's held it. And it's like such a well-traveled, interesting belt. I think on Wikipedia, they have the full list of every single person that's held it and like the circumstances surrounding it. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, as Candace won hers, they shot basically a short movie is what they shot. Where Joey called her before bed and he said, hey, Candace, they were Skyping and Candace is baking and doing her thing and whatnot. And he's like, oh, everything's good, Joey. I'm coming for your title. He's like, what? Oh, yeah, just sleep easy, bud. And then Joey goes to sleep in bed with the title. And then he has a dream sequence where they use dolls. They're like the crochet dolls that some of the Japanese fans made for them, right? So they look just like Candace and Joey. So they had a dream sequence where the dolls where Candace and Joey were wrestling and they did all the match and then Candace pinned him. And then Joey wakes up and his title's gone.
That's really funny.
Well, I'm glad I used that photo with you holding the title as one of the advertising because I made a TikTok where the photo and I had that on there. So I'm glad. I just thought it was a cool ass looking title. I knew that it was the Iron Man title, but I didn't know the whole story background on it. So it's cool to hear.
No, definitely. Yeah. Good times.
So then you mentioned that you started watching wrestling when you were a kid. Who were some of your early influences? Who hooked you on the business? You know, who were the guys that you liked to watch when you were a kid?
Oh man, I grew up Attitude Era, so I was all about, you know, The Rock, Stone Cold, Mankind, Kane, Scott Steiner, Booker T. Like those were my guys.
Oh, cool. So you were part of the Monday Night Wars then, and you watched WCW. Did you flip back and forth to watch them both, or?
I more so watched at the time WWF, but I watched both. I enjoyed both. You know, like it was like Attitude Era Central, so it's like there was the NWO, there was Stone Cold. It's like how can you how could you not be into that era of wrestling? I thought it was all really good, and I liked both products. I've always been about like I don't, other than like I work for the NWA, so that's where I'm loyal to right now as a wrestler. But as a fan, I never thought there was any reason to have any really like loyalty to a brand necessarily. It's like if there's good wrestling, there's good wrestling. You can enjoy them.
Right.
No matter
Oh,
what.
for sure. For sure. So then you are what was holding the NWA World Tag Team Champions? What does that mean to you? Did that mean for your career? Are you big on the history of the NWA and all that? Like, what does it mean holding such a legendary title?
Oh man, yeah. No, I mean that's the biggest accomplishment that I've had, in wrestling. It's something that I still think about and I cherish. And I mean, there's much bigger issues obviously that have happened because of Corona and all that. But like I was really looking forward to Crockett Cup and chances to get those belts back because they do mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
And like there's such history with them, and they're the old school belts. Like they are literally so heavy. They have these big giant gold eagles on them, and if you like your roller bag, your bag will roll in a circle because it's like weighted down by it. It's like legit. Security will always stop you and check them out and whatever because it's just like what is going on here? They're so dense. But man, like like the excuse me, the other teams that historically have held them and to be on that kind of that list and everything, and I don't know, it's like one of those things that like still kind of, even though it is come and gone, it's still not really even real to me. It's like I'm just enjoying the ride. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? But that's like the biggest thing that I've done in wrestling thus far, and it's really a huge honor.
What was your first reaction when you found out who you were going to wrestle to defend the titles? I mean, you had some legends, some icons, Hall of Famers, some gods of wrestling. How'd that make you feel?
Yeah, I wrestling the Rock and Roll Express, and especially now to be able to, I think me and Tom have had like a handful of matches with them at least, and me and Nick Aldis got to wrestle a match against them as well. It's like I've got to wrestle those guys quite a bit, and it's just one of those things you get to learn and pick up so many little things from them, and they're legends, and they're good dudes, and it's been a pleasure to work with them for sure.
Right. I got to give you props though, and because I think you obviously get a lot of fans that tell you, but I want to be ones that continue that. The way that you guys did your storyline, and then Camille came in and like just completely, I don't call it a spear. You just basically he sacked his ass.
It's true.
I actually was wondering who and where I seen her before and who she was, and I remember her playing for the Atlanta football team, and then she played against the Omaha team, which we don't get a lot of those extra sports if you don't have cable, but we do get some of the regional ones, and those were on from Omaha. And I remember her being a linebacker on the team, and she literally would all those girls knocked the crap out of each other. But then I seen that, so then I did the right thing and defended her because some people were like, oh, that was a crappy ass spear. Like, no, that's literally, she sacked his ass. Like, that was a football move straight up.
Yeah, that's not like a sports entertainment move like a spear. It's like you're literally getting sacked by a person.
Yeah. And then as soon as I remember that, I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, she and a bunch of those other girls that were on that defensive line really would like hurt people. Like it was, they looked like they came out of train wrecks after that football game.
Weirdly enough, I met Camille actually. We both had a tryout with WWE at like the end of 2016. It was right before my first tour with DDT, and we both just happened to be there. There was a lot of talented people in that class. Like Shayna Baszler was in our tryout too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other people that are still at WWE, but yeah, I met Camille at the end of 2016, and great person and amazing talent, and I'm glad she's finally kind of getting that recognition that she deserves.
I love the faction. I love how you guys put that together. It's strictly business. That's key. The way that you guys gel is just awesome because you don't see a lot of the factions that come together that gel that well. in recent history. And it just seems like the gel. So what does that mean to you to be in the faction where, like, I mean, it's all connecting. All cylinders are going. Like, what does that mean? And then you guys are back with Ring of Honor now doing this storyline. So how you feeling with this?
I love a good power stable. I think everyone, has a soft spot for it. I think it works so well because we all do really get along so well in real life. Like, there is a group chat and we all bullshit with each other. We all have fun and kick the shit. You know what I mean? It's like there's real chemistry there, and I think that translates to on screen. And then obviously for me personally in my career, it's a big opportunity because it's like we have, the champion, Nick Aldis is in the group, so that obviously puts a bigger spotlight on us.
Yeah.
And Neil's, one of the biggest characters that's come out of the NWA, so that's a bigger spotlight on us. And we're, we're one of the biggest tag teams in the NWA, so like there's a lot of spotlights that are all being shown in the same place, which makes then a much brighter light. And so it's one of those things that we all want to bring something to the table, and we all want to kind of like outdo each other, and we all want to be, like the stars and whatnot. So it's a good, healthy, competitive environment that I think just breeds, it's like we all want to prove our worth and, how good we are. So it's, I love being a part of Strictly Business, and business is a booming. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Cole, have you watched most of those episodes yet, or have you not got a chance?
Of which
of the new season?
Of what show? I'm sorry, I was writing down some notes. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have to.
Yeah, I knew. I heard you writing down. So yeah.
Yeah, I was writing,
like,
and so, my fault. Checked out for half a second.
The second season of Power. Have you seen that?
I have not yet. I only have had time to watch a few episodes of NWA. I've not yet. Yep. I've barely just kind of dipped my toe in to check it out. I've watched a few of Eddie Kingston's promos, but I haven't had much time. And I mean, fortunately for me right now, since I work in the construction field, I'm considered essential for the time being.
Right.
But I mean, everything's changing day to day. So I've been working every day, and between the family business and the kids and their activities, I'm behind on NXT at the moment. So like, I don't have too much time to catch up on all the wrestling like I once did. But I'm having a little more free time these days, so I probably will go and catch up on Ring of Honor and NWA and see what's happening. But as for right at this moment, no, I have not seen NWA Power.
I do got to apologize though, because I know you guys, Royce, that you guys have a new theme song for NWA Power, but I'm a huge, I think Dave is probably about sick of me a little bit. Always trying to say that Eugene should be down there to face, because I know that Eugene knows Nick. So like I always would hey, give him a title match, whatever, because I always try to cheerleader for Nick, for Eugene. But I was like, can you please get Dawson back for the theme song? Can you please? Because it gels. And
Into the Fire was great.
And, yeah, my son can even admit this, because every time I hear that song, I always watch the old episodes. I'm all like, it's like it's like that meme where everybody starts hearing Shawn Michaels' theme song, and all of a sudden where it's like the sexy boy, all the grown men all say it. So when you hear fire, it's like fire,
Absolutely.
and it just gets you pumped for the show.
Yeah, backstage we were all saying it all the time. We were all into it. Like, no, it obviously Pantera's dope, but yeah, I was to the Fire fan for sure.
It would be really cool, and you don't have to do anything, but it would be really cool if they decide to bring that Fire song back right when everything starts production again. I bet people would go nuts. But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah. I'm just a huge that just song gelled and everything. And every time Tuesday came around at 6:05, 6:05, it just hit, and it was exciting, pumped. It gets me pumped right now, knowing that song just gelled with everything that you guys did, plus that intro that you guys had. So it'd see you guys doing something, and then all of a sudden it'd be you two holding the titles like wild cards. That was freaking sweet.
Hell yeah. No, it was good times.
So
sure.
I'll try to settle down. I'm not going to be that smart mark and mark out. Or whatever.
Hell yeah.
All right, Cole, go ahead and take it away, or else I'll start doing that stupid smart mark.
All right, so we've reached the part of the show where we have a couple segments we'd like to do. The first segment is called This or That. Pretty simple. I give you a couple options. You give us the best one. You good with that?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right. So this is first just kind of pop culture stuff. Also, life on the road's hard. So In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Wow. My people out here in LA are gonna murk me, but Whataburger for sure. Like, no question.
Late night after a show, not a lot open. Denny's or Waffle House?
Denny's or Waffle
Ooh.
House?
Man.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
That Waffle House stands for We Allow Fist Fights literally every day. But I'm gonna have to go with Waffle House because honestly,
Nice.
like it's cheap. They're both awful, so it's like you might as well get the cheaper one that you can customize.
Hey, I'm not telling people that they need to go drink alcohol, but I say that food's pretty damn good at like 2:30 in the morning. That's all I'm saying. I might have done that a time or two.
So PlayStation or Xbox?
Ooh, I haven't gamed out in many years, but I was more of a PlayStation guy. But I owned both back in the day for sure.
Yeah, well, PlayStation is the correct answer, so we're good. DC or Marvel?
Marvel, no question.
Oh, sweet. Okay, now we'll enter a little bit of the wrestling realm. Flair or Hogan? Oh, go ahead. Finish your answer.
Go ahead.
Batman has a special place in my heart, but overall Marvel.
Yeah, what I always tell everyone is like Batman and Superman, like top of the card, better than everything, but Marvel's card is just so much deeper, and the talent pool is so much better.
Yeah, exactly. 100%, you're right.
All right, so the wrestling round of This or That, Flair or Hogan?
Flair, but damn, they're both good.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna kind of go on through the years. Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels.
Rock or Austin?
Whew. Those are like my two favorites of all time.
That's mean. That's mean to do it to a guy. Austin.
Yeah.
All right, old school WWF or the NWA?
NWA, baby.
Yeah, that's right. I guess.
Trying to get him in trouble or what here?
Hey, I have to throw a couple softballs, Okay, and then the last one for the wrestling round of This or That, AEW or NXT?
NWA.
Good answer. Good answer.
it.
Company man, I appreciate it. I respect the hustle. I am an NXT man personally myself. I don't know why, but
All right. We'll pull one on you there, Cole. We'll ask Royce who he likes better. Candice LeRae or Johnny Gargano?
Oh man, that is actually a really tough question. They're both pretty amazing. That's making me sweat here. But Candice is your blood, so Candice gets the tiebreaker.
There we go. All right, so then I have a few other rapid fire, just kind of general questions. Who is your favorite band of all time?
Ooh, band, I don't know. I mostly listen to rap, but my favorite rapper of all time is Copyright. He's an underground rapper out of Ohio. Or if we're going mainstream, Cameron is like up there for me for sure.
Perfect. Favorite
I
movie?
was kind of hoping you were going to say your boss. I was like,
we can edit that, right? We can edit it in.
Yeah, we can edit that in.
There we go. Yeah, that'll be cool. Sorry, favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Maybe Old Boy. It's like a Korean flick. It's really twisted and fucked up, and it's about revenge, but it's really good. And I recommend it to everyone. Watch the Korean version, not the American version. But it's worth it to read the subtitles and everything. It's dope.
Awesome. What is the best airline to travel with?
Delta, no question.
Sweet. And then my last question, what is your number one cheat meal?
Ooh, pizza, pepperoni pizza, or Korean barbecue.
Fantastic. Charles, do you have any quick questions here?
Not really, actually. I think you pretty much covered them all. I mean, you did kind of make them sweat a little bit with the bands and the promotions.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, good answer. I love guys that toe the company line. That's fantastic. I appreciate the
Hey,
respect.
it's a passionate project that I believe in. So it's like one of those things.
Right.
I don't think you toe the line when it's something that you're actually into. You know what I mean? Like I think you can.
Right.
Everyone can tell from the interview that it's something that I'm really all about and into. So it's not just the corporate blah blah blah. This is what we have to say, so we like it. It's like
Right.
no, like I'm into it, man. I'm all about it, dude.
Oh, and we always, before we end the show, we always like to ask a couple of questions.
These are the good ones.
Yeah, the good ones. One of the things that we always like to say that the fans don't necessarily think about is how ridiculously difficult life on the road can be. Do you have any nightmare travel stories? Time you got stuck at an airport for a week and a half. We had a couple good stories about getting stopped at the border of Mexico. We had some fun stuff about just all kinds of the nightmare scenarios. Broken flat tires on the side of the road with no money, and you're 200 miles from civilization. Do you have a nightmare travel story?
So this is in a different way, yes.
Okay.
So on one of the first road trips I went on, it was with my friend Cody Devine. He still wrestles. He's a wrestler in Colorado, and we were a tag team at the time. The Upgrades. We did a show in Amarillo, Texas, which is like I don't know 7 hours or something from Denver. So we drove down. Like I drove the whole way down. We took my car, drove the whole way down. We're eating breakfast burritos, all this crap. Like his mom made these homemade bomb-ass breakfast burritos. We're doing our thing. He drinks a 5-hour energy right before the match. Boom. We wrestle. Everything's cool. We get Whataburger. He drinks another 5-hour energy. He's like, all right, cool. Let's crush this drive home. I started the drive home and like maybe like an hour and a half, like 2 hours into the drive home, I'm like, oh, like my back's starting to like I've been driving forever now. Like I look over, I'm like, hey man, you mind like could you drive for a little bit? Like just give me my back a rest, man, or something like that. He's like, yeah, no problem, man, no problem. Pulls out a third 5-hour energy, chugs it, and I'm like,
wow.
hey man, like what's going on with you? And he's like, yeah, I'm just so tired. He's like, but I got this. Maybe 30 minutes later, he's like, bro, I just got to pull over and do some jumping jacks or something to help me wake up. And I was like, all right, dude, like clearly you're done. Like if you're that tired,
Yeah.
tired 15 seconds after you start driving. And I was like, I'm not tired. You gave me enough time to at least like rest my back a little bit. We'll just get through this. I'll take over, whatever. So boom, I start driving. The whole time he keeps being like, he's like half passed out and half like waking up where he's like, I just don't want to be a piece of shit road partner. And I'm like, just go to sleep, dude. Like, just go to sleep. You're that tired. Go to sleep. Maybe you can like drive the last hour. Like, this isn't helping me right now. And then maybe like 45 minutes away from Denver, like away from home, all of a sudden he goes from like fully reclined to sleep. So he just springs up because at this point he's had 75,000% of his daily vitamin B intake. And that's just going to like liquefy your inside. He's popping.
Oh, yeah.
We know to pull over right fucking now. So I skirt off the side of the road. Luckily, there was an exit right there. And he double dragged out of both mouth and ass in the toilet for like the next 30 minutes. Just sitting there. He just fucking it. And then we got home. Whatever.
Oh.
I bet he felt good after that.
You don't need 50 pounds of energy, I promise.
Oh no, man, that's so much better than I ever could have hoped for.
Yeah, that's get on the fucking airport for extra time or whatever, right?
Oh
We're
man.
gonna have to have Rich back on the show to see if he can top that one.
Oh, and then my last question for the interview is just a road story. We had a couple. Willy Mac one time, I was at a show with him, and he was just talking to me, and he said this one blew his mind. They're at a wrestling show in New York, and they're like, it's like the dressing room's kind of like in halfway in the alley type thing. There's a door there. The guys are hanging out, smoking, whatever. And this dude pops up out of a sewer manhole and just gets out of the sewer manhole, puts the lid back on, and walks away. And nobody reacted because it's New York City. And Willie Mac is like, what the fuck is happening? Like, there's sewer people? Is this normal? Sewer people? Do you have a road story that you're going to be telling for the rest of your life?
Oh man. The problem is all the good road stories are ones that would probably get me or my friends in trouble.
Those are the best kind. That's the kind that Ricky Reyes told when he was on with us.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, what can I do without burying anyone that I like?
You could change the names if you need to.
You can change the names if you need to.
Yeah.
Just add Cole and Dave into the name.
Yeah,
and
that's
it'll be
it.
fine.
It was all our fault.
Yep.
Nah, man. I gave my good road story away already. That's the problem.
Well, that's all right. If they're one and the same, they're one and the same.
Yeah. Sold.
So, well, then I guess before we go, I would say, what is your ultimate goal in the professional wrestling industry? Like when you're all done and you walk away, what is it? What do you want your career to have looked like?
Man, I think honestly, I tend not to worry about the overall like art. Like I'm enjoying the ride and I'm enjoying the success that I'm having so far. But like obviously, like I've never been a guy that I'm like I need to wrestle at this promotion or I need to have this championship to feel fulfilled. Like my biggest thing is I just want to create like a legacy that fans can look back one day and be like, hey, that Royce Isaascs was a really good wrestler. Like obviously, it'd be great to hold the Universal Championship or whatever, but like I'm not defined by that. Like I'm defined by my in-ring ability. If I can create storylines that people care about and still are remembering 20 years from now, if I create moments and stuff like that means more than a championship, especially in a sport that, as we all know, is predetermined. So it's like winning a belt isn't actually real, but having an impact on someone's life and having someone in the year 2040 go, oh yeah, you remember Royce Isaascs? He was the guy that did X, Y, or Z. Like that to me is what's important and what I'd like to, hopefully leave the industry with. And I would like to stay involved with it after I even, stop being an active competitor. I enjoy teaching, I enjoy training. And so if I can then also have the lasting impact of, having some kind of my fingerprints on the next generation and helping other people out, that would be great too.
Awesome.
That's a great answer. And so I'd like to thank Royce for being with us. Thank you, sir. And I gotta say, I really like everything that you said. You have a good head on your shoulders, and you definitely made a new fan today in me. And so I will be following you now and rooting for you and hoping for the best for you.
I appreciate that. Let me check out some of my stuff, and if you enjoy it, brother.
I can't wait for you to continue your storyline that you're doing right now. You kind of wondering what's going on with your friend's friend, and he had like that little tie. I thought he was Crowbar from WCW, but apparently he's not. So I was wrong with that. So I don't know. I thought he was, but yeah, I like how you're doing that, man. And if I tweeted you about Tom Selleck and made you mad, I apologize.
It's all love. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for taking the time. I know that it's rough for you guys, and I know that all of us fans are hoping to see you guys get back going and getting all that done. I think you guys did the right thing, and wish you nothing but the best, man.
Hey, I just want to say thank you to any fans that took the time to listen to this. Hopefully they got some fun stories and something interesting out of this, especially in a time like this where we're, all a little bit down and the world is definitely hurting. So if I could bring joy to your life for an hour, that means the world to me. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, right on. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Imagine a world where boring DJs play the same 40 songs over and over.
Another deep cut by Aerosmith. Walk This Way on Boring 102.7.
Where radio stations play 16 minutes of commercials every hour.
This is Gary from Gary Chevrolet. And I'm Carrie from Jerry Chevrolet.
Where the request line just rings and rings and rings and rings. That would suck. Radio doesn't have to suck. the only live local rock and roll radio show anywhere in the Sioux Empire. Actually playing music in the morning and the music you want to hear. Your requests at 605-215-5272. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tune in at kbackradio.com, on Apple Music, or on your Alexa or Google Home enabled device. Also on the Live 365 and TuneIn mobile radio apps. kbackradio.com. This isn't some corporate VP of programming's rock. This is our rock.
Is brought to you by kback.rocks. Rock radio the way rock radio should be. Go to kbackradio.com and listen today. Jekyll and Hyde Barbecue, our brothers from another mother. They make barbecue so good. It'll put a smile on your face. Remedy Brewing Company. It's the remedy for what ails you. And Midwest All Pro Wrestling. Go to MidwestAllProWrestling.com and get tickets and feel the excitement.